Hi, this is Joe again with another review. For the sake of this video, I'm going to be discussing the 1978 film, Grease, starring John Travolta, Olivia Newton-John, Dee Khan, Stockard Channing, and Jeff Conaway. Of course, previously I have done a review on the Grease movie series. I reviewed both movies in one review, and I decided to separate the two movies and do two separate videos, one on each movie. Of course, 1978, to this day, 1978 was the original Grease movie that came out, and that became a big hit. And to this day, Grease is still the most popular movie musical of all time. Now, the big question is, of all the great movie musicals that took place in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, I'm talking about particularly the Rodgers and Hammerstein musicals, like South Pacific, Sound of Music. You also have Flower Drum Song. You had Carousel. You had so many other great, and also you have movies like West Side Story in 1961, which was, all those movies were 10 times better than Grease is, as a film. But Grease is the most popular, still to this day, over 43 years later, and I'm doing this video, still the most popular movie musical of all time. Now the question is, why is this movie so popular? Well, the songs, I'm not saying the songs were bad. I mean the songs are very good. The songs are, you can sing along with it and stuff. The problem is, the reason why this movie is so popular is, compared to the other musicals I just mentioned, is because he has sex in it. All the sexual references in this movie. So that's what became, popular. But of course, the problem with this movie is, of course, it's about high school teenagers, or at least ones who are supposed to be seniors in high school. The problem is that the cast is way too old. Been playing teenagers. Where you could compare it to the original Grease on Broadway, which came out started in 1972. Carol Demas, who's now became famous to kids for being on the children's television show, or being one of the hosts and co-creators of the children's television show, The Magic Gone, which aired locally here in New York City on WPIX Channel 11. She was the original Sandy, and at that time, I'm sorry to mention her age, because I am a big fan of hers and a big fan of the Magic Gone show when I was a kid. She was 30 years old when Grease started on Broadway, with starting performances on Broadway. She was already 30 years old then. She was already too old to play a teenage girl in high school. But in the movie Grease, they do it more so. It's like really over the top, and you could tell that's by looking at the actors. They're way too old to be playing teenagers in high school. I mean, you could also, because they've done that in movies. Sorry, that's my phone. They've done that in Hollywood. They've done it over for years, where people were in their 20s or almost 30 years old. Like in Beverly Hills 90210, for example, half the cast, or almost half the cast, were at least in their 20s when that show started. The only ones who were under 20 when the show started was Jenny Goth, Tori Spelling. Shannon Doherty was 19 when the show started, so she was believable to play a teenager because she was still a teenager when the show started. And Brian Austin Green, he was also a teenager at that time. He was like about 15, 16 years old at the time the show started. But everybody else on that show, in terms of the ones who played, the kids, they were all over 20 years old. Like Luke Perry was, Ian Ziering, Gabriel Cortez was, and Jason Priestley. They were all in their 20s, almost 30 years old. In case of Gabriel Cortez and Ian Ziering, both of them were almost 30 years old when the show started back in 1990. But I'm getting off topic. John Travolta was in his early to mid 20s then. Olivia Newton-John, she was almost 30. Stalker Channing, who played Rizzo, she was like 34, 35 years old when she played the part. And I think that's why everybody else it was either in the mid to late 20s when they were playing the part. And you could tell they were way too old to be playing teenagers. I mean, all of them. I don't think it was that one person was under 25. I think John Travolta himself, he was about like 25, 26 years old when he played Danny. So everybody was way too old. And they had a lot of sexual content in the movie, especially in the songs, like Summer Nights and Grease Lightning. You had a lot of sexual references in that movie, and those scenes when they were making out in the drive-in, making out in the local makeup place. Kind of like Inspiration Point and Happy Days. There was a makeup place joint, and there was a scene where Kaneki is in the car with Stalker Chang's character, Rizzo, and he takes out a condom and he says, "Oh, it broke." Complaining that the condom he was using, ended up breaking. And so they have a condom reference in this movie, and them having sex, and then it says, and Rizzo says, "What the hell? Screw it. The condom broke, and I still want to have sex with you anyway." So they have that, and they have a scene with Danny almost raping Sandy in the drive-in, and she slams the door on his manhood and goes, "Oh," he acts like that, and that's the type of humor, type of content you had. The type of content you had in that movie. I mean, Grease is like the Bull Durham of movie musicals. I mean, as the Bull Durham has been named as the most popular or greatest sports movie of all time, mainly because of all the sexual content in Bull Durham. In Grease, it's the same thing. Because it became a popular movie musical because of all the sexual content in that. Because you have to understand the time that Grease came out, it was like in the 70s, where a lot of movies, and in the case of the Broadway show that Grease was based on, had a lot of sexual content in it, and because of that, the movie became, popular, and so did the movie because of the sexual content in it. It doesn't make it, a god-awful movie, but if you're not prepared for the sexual content in the movie, it's going to put you off. It's going to turn you off from the movie because of the sexual content in the film. That's the reaction that I had from the movie, because it kind of turned me off a little bit, especially in the song "Summer Nights," which is "Did you get very far?" with that. And of course, Danny is saying, "Oh, we did it in the beach, we did it in the car, we did this," and of course, and other scenes in the film where and with Rizzo, when she's singing the song "Sandra D" and she spreads her legs apart. Thankfully, she was wearing panties, but I'm telling you now, if Stalker Channing was not wearing panties, but when she spread her legs like she did, that movie was going to get all rainy. She did that, and I'm surprised. If Grease was made today in 2021 instead of back in 1978, the cancel culture would cancel this movie because of all the sexual content, because people made fun of Sandy, at least Rizzo did, and some of the other girls made fun of her because she never had sex, she never smoked a cigarette before, and they're making fun of her for that. And then meanwhile, Rizzo gets, is known, she gets picked on by fooling around by a lot of guys, which she kind of did. She fooled around with Kaneki, and I think it implies that she fooled around with another guy, along with Kaneki. And of course, John Travolta were singing all the, and I'll bring it up again, but bringing up all the sexual content in Summer Nights and some other scenes in the movie. And there's this one scene where the T-Birds were at the drive-in, and I was talking about, it only takes like 15 minutes. Then what do you do with the girl for the other 23 hours and 45 minutes of the day? And one guy says, "That's all it takes is 15 minutes, and you have to have sex." I said, "Yeah." And they didn't say the word sex, but they implied that it takes like 15 minutes to have sex with a girl. And it's just that, no, it's just that ridiculous with all the sexual content in this film. But the musical performances are what work. And most of the songs, I think except for 3 songs, were all from the original Broadway show. What it was, I should also mention that the singing group Sha Na Na, who was popular back in the 70s and into the early 80s a little bit, they were going on tour singing a lot of songs from the 1950s and 1960s. They performed some of the songs from the original Grease soundtrack from the Broadway show in this movie, plus a lot of popular 1950s rock and roll songs they performed in this movie as well. So, and they stretched out the movie soundtrack because of some of their performances. But some of the songs that was not used in the movie that was from the Broadway show, they recorded for the movie soundtrack. So, you know, you can hear all the songs from the Broadway show on the movie soundtrack. But most of them were not performed by the actors. The only original 3 songs that was used recorded from the movie was actually the title song "Grease." It was written by Barry Gibb, for the Bee Gees, and it was sung by Frankie Valli for the film. You also had the song "Sandy," which was performed by John Travolta. There's actually 4 songs. I forgot, there was actually 4 songs written for the movie. The song "Sandy" was performed by John Travolta at the drive. After when Sandy walks out on him, he sang the song "Sandy." And you also had the song Olivia Newton-John performs "Hopelessly Devoted to You," and the other song was "You're the One That I Want," sung by John Travolta and Olivia Newton, and you could tell who the best singer was, and that was Olivia Newton-John. But the movie itself is like too over sexualized in this movie. And they picked on Sandy for being a virgin, and they picked on Rizzo for being a slut. So it was like one extreme to the other. They pick on the 2 girls who are extreme with not having sex, in Sandy's character, and fooling around, which is Rizzo. They pick on both of them for being extreme one way or the other. The 2 opposite ends of the extreme, which is shaming these 2 girls. And it's really, like I said earlier, this movie made today that really would be criticized like hell for it. So that's my review of the movie Grease. Please click on the video, please rate it, please subscribe to my channel, please forward this video on your Facebook pages. You can check out all my reviews on my YouTube channel at rallyc.com, so WDY, and c.com, the homepage of the Rally Reviewer, Chris Lee Moore. Please check out all of his videos on his website. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.